Alright, let's talk about one of the most reliable assault rifles in Battlefield 6, the L85A3. This weapon may not melt enemies up close like an SMG, but when it comes to holding your ground and picking off targets from medium to long range, it absolutely shines. It's got low recoil, a solid damage profile, and just enough fire rate to stay competitive in almost any fight. If you like playing that balanced role, not too aggressive, not too campy, the L85A3 might be your perfect match. In today's video, we're breaking down the best L85A3 loadout in Battlefield 6. We'll talk about attachments that maximize its strengths, the best situations to use it in, and how you can turn this rifle into a laser beam that dominates mid-range battles. Whether you're a seasoned player or just picking up the game, this setup will help you land more shots, win more fights, and honestly, make you fall in love with this underrated rifle. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The L85A3 is one of those assault rifles that quietly sits in your arsenal, waiting for you to give it a real shot. No pun intended. It is not the flashiest weapon in Battlefield 6, and it will not dominate in every situation, but once you understand how it is meant to be used, it can feel incredibly reliable. The key here is to play to its strengths rather than forcing it into roles it was never meant for. Now, let's start with what makes the L85A3 worth picking up. The first thing you will notice is just how stable it feels. This rifle barely kicks, meaning your shots stay right where you want them, even during long bursts. At around 75 meters, the L85A3 deals surprisingly solid damage, and because it has low recoil and high bullet velocity, landing consistent hits becomes much easier compared to other assault rifles. However, things start to get tricky once you push into close quarters combat. The L85A3 fires at only 635 rounds per minute, which is on the slower side for this category. That means weapons like the M433 or the AK-24 will absolutely shred you up close if you go head-to-head. The key is not to panic and try to outgun them directly. Instead, use positioning and awareness to catch enemies off guard. That slower fire rate is both the gun's biggest flaw and its hidden strength. Because it does not kick nearly as much as faster-firing rifles, you can track moving targets effortlessly. This makes it great for medium-range engagements, those fights where your opponent is 30 to 50 meters away and ducking behind cover. While they are missing half their shots trying to control recoil, you will be calmly landing every bullet. Of course, the L85A3 is not perfect. The reload time is painfully slow, which can easily get you killed if you do not manage your ammo carefully. And then there is the bloom. After a few shots, accuracy starts to suffer, so you cannot just hold down the trigger forever. Tap firing or short burst shooting helps a lot here, keeping your shots tight and your aim on point. To make the L85A3 truly shine, you need to lean into a positioning-heavy playstyle. Think of yourself as a tactical marksman rather than a run-and-gun soldier. Move smart, find good angles, and take advantage of cover. When you can shoot from the side or from behind, this rifle melts enemies before they even realize what is happening. And when you are peeking from windows or head glitching behind cover, you actually have the upper hand because of that precise accuracy. When it comes to the best loadout, attachments that improve accuracy, recoil control, and handling speed are your best friends. Go for a medium optic like the 2x or 3x scope to take advantage of those stable mid-range fights. Add a heavy barrel for even more precision, a grip that reduces horizontal recoil, and a laser for faster aim down sight speed. You will want something that makes you feel comfortable in medium range without sacrificing too much mobility. At the end of the day, the L85A3 is not the gun that wins every duel, but it is the gun that rewards smart, methodical players. If you are patient, play around cover, and understand how to pick your fights, this rifle can absolutely compete with the top-tier assault rifles in Battlefield 6. It may not be the king of close quarters, but at medium range, it is a beast. And once you master it, you will see just how satisfying it can be to land every single shot. When it comes to recoil, the L85A3 performs surprisingly well even in its default form. The weapon has a slight vertical climb, but it is easy to predict and control, especially if you are used to steady burst firing. The main issue appears in the very first shot. Its recoil spike is noticeably higher on the unmodified version. Once you add the right attachments, that harsh initial kick becomes much smoother, allowing for more accurate follow-up shots. So, while the base version is absolutely usable, the fully kitted one feels noticeably more refined and consistent. Now, let's talk about accuracy bloom, the invisible enemy of every mid-range player. The L85A3's bloom starts off manageable, but if you get trigger happy and hold down the fire button for too long, your shots will begin to wander all over the place. The weapon is most accurate when fired in short, controlled bursts of around 5 shots. Anything longer than that, especially at 40 to 75 meters, and you will see your rounds spreading too wide to stay reliable. Treat this rifle like a precision tool, not a bullet hose. The interesting part is how forgiving the L85A3 can be at closer ranges. When your target is within 20 meters, you can comfortably go full auto and still land most of your shots. The combination of low recoil and decent muzzle velocity keeps it fairly accurate in close combat situations, even if you're not burst firing. However, once the enemy starts backing off to medium or long range, you really need to discipline yourself and shoot in short bursts to maintain that sweet precision. Now for the numbers, time to kill, or TK, is where things get a bit more complicated. At ranges under 15 meters, the L85A3 has a TTK of 0.28 seconds, which is decent but not amazing. Between 25 and 75 meters, that jumps to 0.37 seconds, and beyond 75 meters, it slows down to around 0.47 seconds. Those numbers make it clear that this rifle is not designed for lightning-fast eliminations, but for consistent accuracy and reliable mid-range performance. To put it in perspective, the TR7 absolutely melts people at close range with a TTK of just 0.16 seconds. On the other hand, the AK-4D takes about 0.46 seconds to kill targets beyond 75 meters, almost identical to the L85A3's performance at that distance. So, while it might not be the fastest killer in the game, it remains competitive in mid-range engagements where accuracy matters more than pure fire rate. In short, the L85A3 rewards players who control their trigger and take calculated shots. If you try to spray it like a submachine gun, you will lose fights you could have easily won. But if you stay patient, manage your recoil, and master that 5-shot rhythm, the L85A3 turns into an incredibly stable and reliable rifle, perfect for players who value precision over panic firing. The L85A3 might not be the flashiest weapon in Battlefield 6, but with the right build, it transforms into an incredibly stable and efficient rifle that can hold its own against the top-tier assault rifles. Whether you prefer a stealthy approach or want to nail headshots from across the map, the attachments you choose make a world of difference. Let's go over two of the most effective setups, the standard build and the headshot build, and why they work so well. Starting with the standard build, this is your go-to all-purpose setup that performs consistently across almost every map and engagement range. The flash hider is your early game friend here. It helps control muzzle flash while keeping you off the 3D spot system. Once you unlock a suppressor though, that becomes the obvious upgrade. The suppressor not only removes muzzle flash but also hides you from enemy minimaps at over 15 meters, making you much harder to track. For the barrel, the heavy barrel is a must-have. It tightens up your bullet spread and helps you maintain accuracy over sustained fire, especially at medium to long range. Pair that with either a ribbed vertical or stippled stubby foregrip, and you have a weapon that barely moves while firing. Honestly, the difference between grips is subtle. What matters most is comfort and your playstyle. If you prefer aggressive flanking, the stubby gives you a bit more agility, while the vertical keeps things laser straight for those defensive positions. When it comes to magazines, the 30-round fast mag is a perfect middle ground. It offers a quick reload speed without forcing you into awkward extended reloads or reduced ammo counts. Combine that with the basic ammunition type, and you'll have a dependable rifle that feels consistent every single time you fire. For optics, a magnified scope like a 2x or 3x gives you just enough zoom for medium-range fights without sacrificing situational awareness. And if you want versatility, a canted sight is perfect for quick, close-range engagements. Now, if you're confident with your aim and want to melt enemies faster than they can react, the headshot build is where things get spicy. This setup revolves around one attachment, synthetic tip ammunition. This ammo type bumps your headshot damage from 20 to 35 at mid-range distances, turning the L85A3 into a 3-shot killing machine if you can land those precision shots. That alone drops your time to kill from a modest 0.37 seconds to a blistering 0.18 seconds, which is insane for a rifle with such low recoil. In this headshot setup, the standard suppressor is the preferred muzzle choice. It keeps you off the minimap while slightly improving your stealth and control. Stick with the heavy barrel again for precision, and use the 6H64 vertical grip to stabilize those bursts. Some players worry about the grip's description, which claims to lower aim-down sight accuracy, but in practice, it barely makes a difference. You can still laser enemies from 75 meters away as long as you control your recoil properly. The 30-round standard magazine works perfectly here since the goal of this build is precision, not spray-and-pray combat. You won't need the faster reload speed of the fast mag when you're firing in short bursts and hitting headshots. For optics, a magnified sight like the 2XA COG or 3X Prisma is ideal, as you'll be aiming for heads at range. Skip the canted sight for this build. Keeping your focus on precision aiming is what makes this setup shine. There's also an alternative worth mentioning, the bipod or grip pod setup. If your playstyle leans more toward holding positions or locking down angles, attaching a bipod can make your L85A3 feel like a mounted laser cannon. With the bipod deployed, especially when using the support class with the fire support field spec, your recoil drops to almost nothing. This turns the L85A3 into a perfect suppressive fire weapon, ideal for controlling lanes or providing overwatch for your team. However, the downside of that setup is mobility. Once you go prone or mount up, repositioning becomes slower and you lose flexibility in dynamic firefights. If you're someone who prefers staying on the move, flanking, or constantly switching cover positions, the standard foregrips will serve you better. They offer just enough recoil control to keep your aim steady without tying you down to one spot. In short, the L85A3 can adapt to nearly any playstyle with the right attachments. The standard build gives you versatility and consistency, making it perfect for most players. The headshot build, on the other hand, rewards precision and smart positioning, turning you into a deadly mid-range marksman. And if you enjoy the tactical, methodical gameplay style that the L85A3 encourages, mastering these builds will let you fully unlock the weapon's true potential in Battlefield 6. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.